I don't know about you, but when I'm jammed onto public transport, I often daydream about wide open spaces being free, somewhere with no restrictions. You know, there's got to be a place out there where I can just do what I want, no one telling me what to do. Well, apparently, that paradise is not too far from here. Just behind me is the paradise I've been telling you about. It's just there over that railway bridge. It's called the Chosun State, and it's based on the revolutionary thought, the idea of Juche. Juche is the ability to be able to work independently without regard for outside influences. The idea that true freedom comes from being able to determine your own destiny. In other words, no one can tell me what to do. I can set my own course and determine my own future. How inspiring is that? Who wouldn't want to be the master of their own destiny? The Chosun State is better known by its other name, North Korea. In 1953, after 5 years of conflict, the North and South agreed to disagree. The South taking the course of democracy and the North being inspired by the socialist ideas of communism. The two Koreas have been separated now for more than 50 years by this 4-kilometre wide, 250-kilometre long no man's land. Sometimes what seems like freedom isn't, and what appears to be restrictive can at times bring freedom. The idea of no one telling you what to do sounds great, but in reality, whether you're a country or an individual, it doesn't bring freedom or happiness.
Afternoon, ma'am. We will be closely observed by North Korea and monitor our tours very closely, so we remind all our visitors to be mindful of their body language at all times. So that means no pointing, no waving, no gesturing towards the KPA soldiers. So we just want to make sure you don't try to communicate with them in any way.
Thanks.
All right, if you follow me out to conference room, please.
So I noticed that there's like a raised paving in between each of those buildings. Is that significant at all?
That's actually the military demarcation line. You can see it starts over to the right, the white stakes. They mark the military demarcation line, which goes to concrete dividers. They're 17.5-inch concrete slabs. This is where the MDL is clearly defined, more than anywhere else in the DMZ. Outside the joint security area, the military demarcation line, it's strictly marked by panel markers. There's just over 1,200 panel markers. They're black and yellow. They're labeled on the south side in Hangul or Korean and English. The north side is Korean and Chinese. So in the JSA, this is where it's most obvious to separate the two forces.
Okay. So in other words, each of those buildings, to go inside, half of the building is South Korea and half the building is North Korea.
Exactly.
Okay. And I noticed that rock soldiers here standing very still. Tell me about those.
The rock soldiers that work here, they're very disciplined. When they come out to set up a security cordon for our tours, they'll stand at a modified position of Taekwondo. The rock soldiers call the stance rock ready. They also wear the dark sunglasses. You can notice that is used to present an emotionless posture towards North Korea as part of their professionalism. working here in the JSA.
Okay. And I noticed two of them standing sort of half square onto the buildings. Why do they do that?
The two soldiers that are most forward, they're observing into North Korea just to make sure that nothing's out of the ordinary. There's no actions of North Korea that could be taken as hostile. So if anything should happen, they have the building for protection so they can better react to make sure everyone leaves here safely and securely.
Okay, which is a good thing.
Yes.
And now tell me about this building that obviously on the North Korean side.
The North
What's
Korean
that?
building, that is called the Panmunjak. That's the North Korean Visitors Welcoming Center. That's where they bring their tours in. They'll give them a short briefing the same way we do. The two-man guard post, primarily, you can see the one KPA guard outside right now. And then directly to this left, the window is pulled back with another soldier with a camera. As we say repetitively the entire tour, we are monitored very closely by North Korea. They're both interested in who we have on tour and exactly what our tour is doing.
You mentioned a bit earlier the things we're not allowed to do. We're not allowed to point. We're not allowed to wear faded jeans. What are the reasons for some of those rules?
In the past, certain people have come to the JSA and, for instance, pointing, that can be taken by North Korea as maybe we're trying to provoke them, maybe we're saying slanderous things. If a media tour is here and we have the media to they're making gestures or pointing, they could say we're telling other countries negative things about North Korea, and they don't really take kindly to that. Also, some people, if they bring bags here, they can say they're smuggling weapons or anything like that. So North Korea, they really like to point the finger about things that are done wrong in the JSA, even though it's a somewhat common occurrence for North Korea just to kind of turn a blind eye to the armistice.
Yeah.
So.
The demarcation line runs.
You can actually see it right here in the building. There's microphones on the center table. They are recorded and monitored 24 hours a day, as well as they represent a military demarcation line inside the MAC building. So everything on the far side of the building is technically North Korea. You're going to cross into North Korea. You are allowed to do that. The only thing I ask is you don't pass behind or in front of this rock soldier. Also, do not go any farther north than the rock soldier at that end of the building. These two soldiers, of course, they are standing at rock ready, the modified position of Taekwondo. And they are here for everyone's safety. So to maintain a situational awareness, a better understanding of what's going on around them, we ask all the visitors not to get too close to the rock soldiers. Don't touch them or interfere with their job in any way. But by all means, you can go into North Korea. That won't be a problem.
That is such a bizarre concept. To look across a room, be in a room, and be in a country, one, that you can't access, or be in two countries at once. Most people associate freedom with not being told what to do, no one holding you back. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Make your own path, choose your own direction, go where you want to go. That sounds like freedom. When you come here, you get told, don't cross the borderline, don't engage the North Koreans in any conversation, don't point, don't wear faded jeans. Now don't get me wrong, I'm free to ignore all of this advice. I could choose to go and step over that borderline over there. I don't have to do anything they've told me is safe. But if I did step across, if I went my own way, there's a pretty serious consequence. I might be free to choose to cross the line, but I might not make it back. Staying on the path that's marked as safe may seem restrictive, but the consequences of stepping off it could be much worse.